Extinction is one of the worst games I've ever played in my entire life. Yo, what's up? My name's Retro Pat, and the year 2023 was full of a lot of bangers for me. I added some new games to my top 10 ever video game list. I played a lot of incredible video games, and I played a couple stinkers. Now, thankfully, I only have 3 video games to talk about today, but these are the top 3 worst games that I played within 2023, and funnily enough, they're all Xbox One games. Now, one of these games is kind of universally agreed upon to be not a very good video game. My stance on it is a bit harsher than others, but the other two are kind of some hot takes, kind of some hot picks, and I'm open to at least retrying one of them. One of these games I even played to completion, and I would argue it was still one of the worst games I played in 2023. Let's go ahead and start with talking about Extinction. This is one of the worst games I've ever played in my entire life. There's gameplay footage in the background. Now, Extinction was a very cheap Xbox One game. I saw it for like $5 at a local store, and I was like, oh, what? You know what? The art looks cool. I'm interested. I'm down to blindly pick up a $5 Xbox One game while exploring the console for some of the first times. And man, was I disappointed. I could see where this game could have been good. I watched the E3 and it seemed like they had a lot more realized, and they wanted to do some sort of open world, almost like Attack on Titan style combat, some giant open world where you're this small guy attacking these giant ogre type creatures by hitting their necks and their calves and like beating them down as you would if you were a small guy fighting a big guy. It's a really, really cool concept, but man, it was just so far from realized. Extinction ends up being this level-based sort of saving the town combat game, and you quickly realize how bad it is. The gameplay ends up being so much repetitive, smacking around these little goblins to gain enough power to activate these pillars to free the humans, and then you end up getting enough power to be able to go actually fight one of the giants, and it just feels clunky. There's a movement system where you use grapples to sort of run into hotspots and then pull along the trees and pull along the buildings, and it just never works the way you want. You never go the direction you want. Maybe I'm just a noob. This game did get pretty universally mediocre reviews, around 4 to 6, I think, out of 10. I would give this game a 1 out of 10. I tried to play this game for a solid 4 hours or so in 2 different sessions, and I hated it. It feels clunky, doesn't feel good, not easy to pick up, not fun. I like the graphics. I think that's the biggest thing the game is going for. The graphics and the like sprinting sort of feel you can have at times is interesting. It looks like a cool game. Like if you look at the concept on the TV here, it's like it looks interesting, but then you play it and you just realize how monotonous and unfun the rewards even are, and how what's the word, I guess? The movement is just so unresponsive and so inaccurate. It's really, it feels clunky to play, feels brutal, and it just was not rewarding enough to actually be able to fight those ogres. I could see something here, but once again, it feels like this game was just wildly underdeveloped. It feels like they were promising a bunch of cool stuff and they just couldn't ever get around to it. Like watching the pre-alpha footage, this is pre-alpha. This is pretty much the game. It feels like they had the pre-alpha done and then just didn't do any developer work until it was released. It's really, really disappointing. But I could just, rant and rave about it forever. It was one of those frustrating, lame experiences. It says cool as hell on the back, and that was certainly not my experience. But if you enjoyed Extinction, I'm happy for you. I certainly did not. Let's move on, though, okay? Let's move on to... let's go ahead and move on to the game that I do want to keep trying, but I really thoroughly have not enjoyed so far. I tried playing the Crysis Trilogy. This is going to be a hot take because I remember growing up around the Crysis Trilogy, but I never played it. I remember growing up... Because back in the day, any PC gamers will understand... the term, can it run Crysis? Can it play Crysis? Was the standard back in the day. Crysis revolutionized, I think the franchise has really fallen out of favor, but Crysis revolutionized a lot of FPS storyline combat at the time, and specifically graphics. The graphics of Crysis 1, Crysis 2, Crysis 3 were top of the line, pushing the boundaries at that time, and it was just unheard of. And the phrase, can it run Crysis, to put a measure on a benchmark of how good your computer build was, your desktop, your tower, was the benchmark. It was, can it run Crysis? I went back and I tried to play Crysis, the trilogy, for the first time in the year 2023, and I was shocked at how awkward the aiming was and the movement, and maybe I needed to just finagle my settings a little more. I'd really tried to get some sort of sensitivity correct in the settings, but I played it on console. Maybe I should have played it on PC. Maybe it's a better PC port. On console, this game felt wildly awkward, not very good to control. It just felt unresponsive once again. And it was really like I kept having issues with the aiming where it would overshoot or like undershoot. I could not get this. Every time I would move the joystick, it would just like slide. And it's not a controller issue. I don't have this issue with any other games. It's not like a loose analog stick. It was, I would move the analog stick and it would just like slide up. I could not get it to work the way I wanted to. Maybe I'll just need to finagle settings more, but I just couldn't get into the functionality of Crysis 1 and 2. Like the gameplay, the sprinting, the movement and the aiming, the basics, the core functions of an FPS just felt bad to play. Now, maybe I need to give it more of a try. Maybe I need to give myself more time to adjust. I played Crysis 1 for about 2 hours and Crysis 2 for about an hour and a half. So around 4 hours, 3.5 hours. And I just couldn't get into either. I really, really tried. I remember I couldn't get into Crysis 1, and I was like, maybe Crysis 1's just outdated. Maybe that one's just a bit outdated. We'll jump into Crysis 2, and I was like, no, it's the same thing. It's mild improvement, but the mechanics just felt bad. The aiming felt bad. Could not get into Crysis Trilogy. I'm going to try again. I will try again. I didn't get very far, so we'll get back to that one at some point in the year 2024, hopefully. All right, and then next up is a take that I'm very sad to have to even give, and it's by far my hottest take. One of the games that I was disappointed the most by in 2023 was playing Doom 2016 for the first time. Doom fans swear by this game. A lot of people swear by this game. They thought it was a revival of the series. And man, maybe I'm a boomer. I enjoy it, and I don't even love the original Quake and Doom that much. Those games are fun to me. They're enjoyable. They're historic. I've played both of them. But I prefer like Doom 1 over this. I couldn't believe, because this game just didn't execute to me what it was trying to do. Coming from even games like Bulletstorm, which released in 2011, Bulletstorm's combat, in my opinion, blew this game out of the water. Also coming from games like Rage 2, which came out in like either 19 or 2017, either 1 or 3 years later than Doom, just destroyed this game. This game's combat was not fun. This is a game, this is going to be a hot take, a lot of people disagree with this. This is a game that is a big, dumb gun shooter. Love it. Love the genre. Love all about it. Bulletstorm, Rage 2, love these games. No problem with it. The issue is it's a big, dumb gun shooter that doesn't feel good with combat. One of the things I immediately noticed in Doom, this really annoyed me. The first enemy you run into is a ranged enemy that runs away. That's not fun. When you are playing a big dumb gun shooter and you have a shotgun and like the beginning AR or whatever, the pistol and the shotgun, right? And the first enemy you run into is an enemy that is trying to avoid you. That's not enjoyable in a game like this. Not even like strategic. It's just not a fun thing to experience when you're trying to like fight these guys and they're just like running away and being cowards and being annoying. Oh man, it was so unfun. None of the guns in this game felt satisfying to use except for the super shotgun. The super shotgun was very fun. That was probably, and I just used that weapon like the entire game. All of the ARs, the plasma AR, the normal AR just didn't feel good to use. There was a railgun that felt pretty good to use, I want to say. Man, this was a game, I played this game to completion, okay? I gave in. People kept saying, oh no, man, it's really good. Keep going, keep trying. I played this game until completion, and I was bored the entire time, and I did not enjoy the combat. I didn't pay attention to the story. Maybe the story makes it better, but I honestly didn't pay attention. I was just playing it like a big dumb gun shooter. Man, one of the best things, I wish this game didn't have a sprint, which is fine. That's kind of Doom's MMO. No sprint sucked. No dash sucked. I heard Doom Eternal has a dash. I really want to try that. I think adding a dash, it is stupid how much complication and how much better it makes and how much pace it increases to give an FPS a fucking dash. Just allow you to like press left bumper to be able to dash. Like it does so much. It adds so much complication to your fighting system. That's one of the things I noticed in Rage 2. It just did phenomenally. So I have to play Doom Eternal for sure. I do want to play Doom Eternal, but I played this game to completion, and the guns just didn't feel satisfying. The enemy variety, once you got mid to late game, was really good. I did end up really enjoying the enemy variety mid to late game. The shield enemies were a pain. You'd have to fight things in different ways. That was really fun. Use different weapons, etc., etc. Maybe they just focused on the multiplayer. I only played the single player. Maybe the multiplayer was better for Doom 2016. I never played that. The graphics of this game, that's another thing I should appreciate. The graphics of this game, beautiful. The graphics of this game, it's one of the best looking games on the Xbox One for sure. This game looked really good. The opening scene, so good. There are some positives that I do want to appreciate and give to Doom 2016. The graphics, the beauty, But man, it's a combat game. It's a big dumb gun shooter that had bad combat. I was bored. Didn't feel satisfying to use the guns. No dash, no jump, slow. I liked the idea of all the enemies like swarming you when you like bash your hand into those like things, like you pull them out and you like attract the swarm. That's a really cool mechanic. Didn't feel good. Didn't really matter because the combat was shit. Didn't really matter. But it's a cool mechanic. There are cool things in this game that I could see, but man, the final boss was a really good level of difficulty. I think that's another thing I could talk about. The difficulty curve in Doom 2016 was really arguably perfect. The difficulty curve is really good. I'm really trying to find positive things. There are some positive things to say about it, but when the core gameplay loop is unfun, nothing can save a game like this. I was really disappointed. I think that's the biggest thing is like, if I had no expectations for Doom 2016 and I went into it, then maybe I would have had a different perspective of it. It's definitely because my expectations were so high, and then I played it after playing Rage 2 and Bulletstorm, which are games that have way worse reviews than Doom, and then I was just so vehemently disappointed. So unfortunate to see that result from Doom. I wish I could say it differently. I wish I could have a different opinion, but here I am. Didn't enjoy Doom, unfortunately. I also don't think the level design was that great. There was some cool parts. I think it got a little repetitive as well. The like, I didn't like the inside tech environments. They got really repetitive. I feel like there's only like 2 or 3 different sceneries in Doom. There's like the sandiness of Mars. There's like the inside tech, and then there's like the final levels of hell. It's like 3 different zones. That's it. I really wish different level zones, and different sceneries would have done a huge service to this game, but that's it. I don't know. That's my Doom. I could rant about this game for way too long, so I'm gonna cut it there. But there it is, short and sweet, sad little video for today. I don't like making negative videos like this, but I did want to put out my opinions and my thoughts on this. I try to see some more positive content, but it's also good to critique where there's issue. But this is past critique. This is just complaining. But I don't know, I have fun with stuff like this, and it's good to share my thoughts and how I felt with games in 2023. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Like this video if you did, if it was good background content to listen to while you play some games. Dislike if not, that's okay. Don't dislike just because you disagree with me, but feel free to leave polite but passionate comments telling me why I'm wrong about Doom 2016. Tell me what there's to enjoy about it. The soundtrack was great, another positive. Subscribe for daily videos, and I will be seeing you guys next time. Peace, Areno.